The whole experience of buying makeup, whether you're a makeup fanatic, a makeup junkie, or you just put a little lip gloss, I don't know a woman anywhere, because most of my friends are not major makeup people. They're like, they'll put a little mascara, a little blush, they don't even wear foundation. But yet, there's not a woman I've ever met that's not fascinated and interested.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so
Absolutely.
true. Hey, everybody, I'm Lori Schulweiss.
And I'm Jen Giammo.
And welcome to another episode of Everybody Talks, the podcast where we explore the wide world of wellness. Sometimes we talk to experts, sometimes we just talk to each other, but we're always talking to you.
Every week we discuss topics from nutrition and exercise to mindfulness and self-care. And today we are talking all about beauty.
And what that means. So let's get started. All right, I'm not going to lie. We're super excited about today's episode of Everybody Talks. Our guest today began her career as a theatrical makeup artist working on Broadway and with celebrities before transitioning to creating her own very well-known makeup brand. She's the founder of Laura Geller Beauty, a cosmetic brand known for its innovative makeup products emphasizing simplicity and accessibility in beauty. She's recognized for her expertise in creating products designed for women of all ages, particularly focusing on mature skin. Throughout her career, her brand has won multiple awards for product innovation and consumer satisfaction.
She is a vocal advocate for age inclusivity in the beauty industry, particularly championing women over 40, thank God, and beyond. She's appeared on The Today Show, Rachel Ray, The View, but she's best known for her long-running relationship with QVC, where she's become a household name and helped grow her brand's popularity. She is here with us today.
She's very excited.
Please welcome our new friend, Laura Geller. Welcome.
Welcome to Everybody Talks, officially, Laura Geller.
Yay!
Thank you. I gotta tell you, I was so excited to do this because I've been watching you and I've been having tremendous FOMO that you're having these amazing guests on. So this was like a countdown for me. I'm really, really happy to be here.
Well,
we
it's a
are
countdown
too.
for us too. We love, first of all, we love chatting with you. And I felt like it was like kismet that we met. And so let's just remind, we met
That's
at
correct.
a women's event, right? At Prime Time,
Women.
Prime Women. Conversation with Prime Women, and you spoke, and then all of a sudden we met, and it was like we've known each other for 1,000 years.
There's so much in common, but I think that's the beauty of your platform, but also the events we go to, is you just meet these phenomenal women who are doing great things and giving people like me a voice who don't have a podcast. And when I'm on QVC, I can't get my message out because I'm selling a product for a particular period of time and I got to stay on message. So this is a way for people to learn about me in another light, that they don't know about. So thank you.
Well, why don't we start with that? Like, let's give a little backstory, like your origin story and, how you started and how you became, what is, Laura Geller, the makeup, rather than just Laura Geller, the person.
Well, thank you very much for asking. How much time do you have? No, I'm going to keep it short and succinct. Let's face it. I just turned 66, so it was not an overnight success by any means, but it really originated and started where I started as a makeup artist. And I was doing a lot of television and film. I was in the union. I did a lot of theater also, not union related, but TV and film, worked on a lot of journalists, anchors, and I loved it. And even a lot of legends. I mean, some who are still here and some who aren't. And it always sounded good to talk about it, but there was always something missing. And what was missing is that those women alike would say to me, I don't know how to do it. Like, can you teach me? Some had always wanted me to be there, but some were like, I can't always have you. And I saw this sort of hole where, not that I ever planned for it to be a business, that women needed to be taught how to put their own makeup on. So I opened a store in Manhattan in 1993. And I modeled it after the Max Factor Museum in Hollywood, where there were separate little rooms that were color-coded. And I would put people in those rooms based on their coloring. So like blue, if they were silver-haired, to complement their features. And I taught makeup lessons. And what I found was when I taught these makeup lessons and women understood how to really do it, because I didn't just do it to them, I made them hold the brush. I would do one half the face, make them do the other half the face. When they understood how to do it, they bought everything. And that was also not something that I was planned for. And I was like, well, wait a minute now. I have to grow this. So I expanded the store into 2 stores, hired other artists, and we were known for makeup lessons. And I can't even begin to tell you the clientele that we had.
Wow.
But they became like from all over the world, like people, because I was in Europe on QVC in London. So people would come and we were a destination. And for 21 years until 2012, I had that store. And I think what I loved most was teaching women how to do their makeup. And I think what parlayed me building a brand was, again, build it and they would come, is 2000. It was 1997 that QVC discovered me. And
Wow.
I wasn't really a true brand then. I still was this working makeup artist in New York, and I went on air. And because I could explain it really well, my sales went like through the roof. Like I went on with 750 units of something. I have never sold 750 units of one item in my whole career, even at my store. And I sold out in like 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I realized I was good in sales. I was good teaching women. And I think that was missing in the industry. And that's how I started my line, to keep it simple and explain it.
That's really a success story. I mean, that's like a rags to riches American story. Just that, you know.
Totally. I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
I loved makeup, but I didn't know it could be a business. I always felt like I missed out on that portion of my life, not going to school. And I still do miss, for many reasons, the experience and what I may have learned about business. And I always tell people, whatever business you're starting, I don't care if it's service, I don't care if it's product, the thing you need to learn is business. And I pushed my son to learn business. I have to tell you, he went to one of the best business schools in the country. And I said, you got to learn business, because I didn't know it. And that's why it took me so long to scale my brand and get investment and then eventually sell it. I said, I need you to learn business. I don't know what you want to do in life, but you need to know it. And sure enough, he's in sales, and he fell into it, but he knows business. And so he has a leg up.
Yeah.
So I would tell anybody, if you didn't go to college, or if you went already and you didn't study that, maybe you studied our history.
Maybe, yeah. That really useful major.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing like learning, how to read a P&L. I mean, I'm not interested, or a balance sheet, or how to build out a business plan, or, those were the things I didn't have, and I didn't have mentoring. So it happened by default, and a lot of hard work and a lot of years.
But also, Laura, I feel like, to have the confidence to do that, like having not gone to school for this and throwing yourself into this business, that's amazing. And like QVC found you after you had the store. So it wasn't like that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So 4 years after you opened the store, QVC 97, right?
Wow. And was that just out of curiosity, was that just out of like word of mouth, like people talking about the store? And that QVC and it was probably like the early days of QVC also.
No, they're 35 years old and I'm 27 years there.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So
yeah, really the beginning.
I'm the longest standing color brand there, actually. So It was the old studios. Yeah, I had a lot of press, I have to say. And I had a PR person, very small PR person, but she saw that I had the store and it was different. And she knew, that as a makeup artist, I was really good at explaining it. And I also think when you love what you do, I think you excel at it. And even if you're going through tough times, you don't mind like sticking with it, because you love the craft or the service or the product that you've created. So you're more patient with hanging in there,
Sure.
I think if it was something I didn't like, there's no way I would have stuck with it that long. I mean, someone once coined me as being a 40-year overnight success.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
just the way, definitely the way.
I wish it would have happened 30 years ago, but it didn't.
Yeah, but
everything happens when it's supposed to happen.
Like
I'm a strong proponent
the timing,
of that.
Is what it's supposed to be. So talk to us about that for a second. Like, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced just being female entrepreneur, like in those early years?
Well, think about it. Like, I do feel ignorant saying this. Like, I was running the front of the house. I literally would open up that store, close that store, and I would hire people to do everything behind the scenes, pay my bills, pay my taxes. And I couldn't check on them. I didn't know if they were doing it right. I just prayed that I was putting it in the hands of people that I could trust. And here's one example. I hired a bookkeeper that was working for a photographer that used to hire me. And when I would go to this photography studio to do photo shoots for, I worked for Scholastic, all these book covers I did for children's books and lots of different things. He would always be there. And I said, I'm opening a store. I need a bookkeeper to help me because now I'm, official. It was different before. I sort of had an accountant that kind of helped me a little. Well, anyway, um, I would give him the mail. I was so happy to just hand him the bills. And he'd say to me, okay, sign these 4 checks. I have to pay your last quarter federal, your last quarter state. And I'd sign the checks. And I was so busy that I didn't want to know what he would, it was being handled. And then one day, about 2 years later, I started getting um, mail from the IRS that I didn't pay the quarter from 2 years ago and the quarter from the 2 year. I mean, you can't imagine how much debt I was in because he was not. The checks I was signing, he was embezzling money.
Wow.
It was probably the worst time in my life because I didn't have money. I scraped money together to even build the business I had. And so I remember my father, I went to him, and in the old days, they call them efficiency experts, where somebody comes in and sees what's wrong in the business. So my father's friend, who was an efficiency expert, said, I'm coming to your store. Do not tell this man that I'm coming. And so he came and he said to the guy, I need to see her files from the quarter of 1994 and 1995. I can't even tell you what it was that they were coming after. And the man said, well, it's at my offices. I just come here and, pay her bills. And I didn't like the way this efficiency expert was talking to the bookkeeper because he was hard on him. And I was like, don't be so. He's like, are you kidding? You're in hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt. I'm going to talk to him any way I want. Step away. Anyway, the guy disappeared. He disconnected his phone, disappeared. There was no way of he knew he was busted. And I couldn't believe that he worked for these other people. So that was just one example of a huge setback for me. Thankfully, the very famous Cindy Adams was my client of 10 years or more. And I would always tell her, what I was going through. And she introduced me to her accounting firm who helped me pay off over time. But yeah, that was a really rough time. And then, hiring people and managing people and having to not just train them, but manage them. And I think that anybody I see who's in business for themselves, I think the hardest thing, and you need your employees, and sometimes you get those devoted ones who unmistakably will do anything for you. And even you'll deal with the fact that maybe they're not as seasoned as you'd like them to be, but they're dedicated. But then there were people that were stealing from me, and I didn't even know they were stealing. And I mean, bad stealing and selling my products, taking my clients and going to them privately and doing them and so that they wouldn't come back to the store. They were going to their homes. It was a really rough chapter, having the store, managing the store. And I was so happy when somebody came along and said, I want to make an investment in your company. And I knew they had the business acumen. And I was like, yes, I not only need the money to scale it, but I need somebody who cares about it like I do and will run the business part of it. But that came with problems. So it's not all it appears to seems. Like my father's famous expression was, nothing appears as it seems. People thought, oh, you got this inflection of money and you're sitting pretty. No, I wasn't. That was a whole nother fraught of like, oh my God, this person, after me running this business over 35 years, is not listening to me and thinks I don't know better. And that was tough too.
Oh my God. But that was someone that you could trust as far as the business went. Like
Right.
that person wasn't
Ish.
ish.
Right.
Yeah.
Ish is a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a
Actually,
good word.
he actually said, if you want to keep the store, I'll carve it out of our contract. He didn't want the store. And it was already 21 years. And in New York City, rents, I don't have to tell you, I had 2 stores connected. The rent was, I think, over $21,000 a month. And so when he said, I'll carve it out, it's yours, I went, no, 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 the lease is up, I'm done. And I disappointed a lot of people in New York and the tri-state area. To this day, people come up and say, I miss your store.
I think I could picture the awning on the store, like as I've, like I could picture what it looked like because I
It was
think
a
I've used to
big
pass it
black,
all. Yeah.
big awning. It said Laura Geller Makeup.
Yeah.
And it was a place where I eventually brought in an esthetician for facials and a hairstylist to do hair. And you could get everything done in one. It was really unique at the time. Very different.
That is.
Really special.
Yeah.
It was special.
And like a fun
Right.
place to
Yeah.
be and work,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
I
When
always had champagne at night and always had fresh baked cookies every day. And people would come in, even if they were just coming in to talk. I always had coffee and tea for them. They called it in one of the books, Shopping in New York. They called it the Cheers of the Upper East Side.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it is hard, to manage employees, especially when, you're skilled, you're very creative and you're skilled in a different way. And it's like managing people is a whole other thing. And to have that experience
know.
that you had prior where you couldn't even
Yeah,
trust the
constantly
person.
watching
It's
your
like,
back.
yeah, you have to always be watching your back. And
I can write a book, girls, about
yeah, absolutely.
what people did to me. I mean, and they never felt grateful for, there were a couple that did, and I'm still in touch with them, but most of them always felt that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have the business. Like, they did the work and they made me
Really?
feel that way
Ugh,
too.
terrible.
That
was
is terrible.
tough.
Yeah.
I can write a book just about that. Just about that.
But you
So if you're
obviously-
listening out there and
Yeah.
starting a business,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to tell you something. That's probably
Yeah.
your biggest hurdle. It's not when business gets slow. If you've got something clever and you fill a white space out there, more power to you. It's going to be about the people who help you to get over the next hurdle. That's
Yeah.
going to be tough.
Yeah. And that's important to hear, I think, because I do think people might look at you and be like, oh, well, she's just super successful and all of these things, she has all these products and she's on QVC but it wasn't easy to get where you are now. At all.
No,
nothing,
it was tough.
anything's ever easy,
Yeah.
but like those are some big roadblocks,
Yeah, they sure were.
But so as a makeup artist, what was that transition like to creating your own products? Like how did that sort of like shape the development of these products? And I know that you're all about inclusivity, which we love, and
Yeah.
the mature woman. So how did that all evolve?
Yeah, so I think it's, for me, everything that sort of happened was customer request, customer demand. So when I started on QVC, my experience was in theater and film makeup. So my very first makeup kit was not made for me. It was products that you buy that's turnkey. So you could go to a manufacturer and pick a color off a shelf and you adhere your label on it. And because I never knew that QVC was going to be long term, it was, I hope I'll be successful on it. And I did a contour and a highlight kit because that was my experience, like how to shape and sculpt a face. And I realized that not only teaching women, that I was filling a void from something they had in their makeup routine. So every product I ever created was something that had to be something they didn't have. Whether it was in an ingredient story or delivery system, it had to be that I knew she was not going to have this product in her arsenal of products.
Right.
So then I was forced and pushed for 5 years on QVC, 1997 to 2002, and I funded it myself. And so I was still running the store, still working at the store, still doing private clients, weddings. That was another huge part of my business. And that's why I also, like my life was like all work. And I loved it, don't get me wrong, but it's also why I had a child at 42 because I
Yeah.
forgot to like weave that into my life. And so I think what happened was I understood as a makeup artist and being a makeup artist from 18 to now in my late 30s, early 40s, what women needed because I was doing their makeup. And I knew what interested them when I did their makeup. I knew they'd say things like, wait a minute, what is that you're using? Like, I think I need to buy that. Like, I don't have that at home. And so I would start to create these products because for 5 years, I'd go on just as what they call an item business. And finally, QVC said to me, you have enough items to make an hour show. We need you to do an hour. And I was scared because you needed a lot of money to fund inventory for an hour show. But I did it. I don't know. Don't ask me how, because I still don't know how to do a balance sheet or a profit loss statement. But I did it. And it was like they came to me and they was like, what's your brand? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? What's my brand? Because it was all private label. I had a good eye for picking colors, but I didn't have it made for me. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm a New York makeup artist. They're like, but your brand, what's your brand identity? And I realized, oh no, I got to hire somebody who helps me to create and market a brand. So I hired a branding agency that created the look, the logo, that everything
Right.
has to look, it was all of these things. What did
I
I
know.
know?
I know.
And that kept evolving. And then because of the quantities they would order, I was able to get things made just for me. So if I used to go before to pick eyeshadow colors out or blush colors out, now I could pick them out but work with the lab and say, can you add an ingredient or ingredients that are going to hydrate the skin, that are going to be, not with parabens and take out mica, and the things that were the buzzwords that concerned women. So now I started making my own makeup in 2002. And that's how the brand evolved into really being a custom private brand for me that was different than anything I had ever done before.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Were you nervous, like, having to buy all of that, fund all of that inventory for
Yeah,
QVC
that's
for the first
nerve-wracking.
time, like going on? Were you nervous that, like, is this going to sell? Or am I going to be stuck with all this inventory? Yeah. That's scary.
Very much. But QVC was very, especially in those days, they really helped nurture brands that they saw that could have longevity.
Yeah.
And so the buyers were very cognizant that I was funding this myself. So they were careful about ordering large quantities. It also didn't hurt that if you had a sellout on QVC
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and the sold out sign came on, it just made women want it more.
Sure.
So it was okay if you were out of stock of it for
Yep.
a minute, because then the story when you went back on was, this was sold out 2 months ago and we just got it back in stock.
So
Yeah.
then is that kind of how you, like, when did you decide that you were going to kind of become this brand for mature women? Is that like a bad word, mature women?
Well,
I feel
it
like
doesn't sound great.
No, it doesn't, right?
Sound great.
No, what's like a
Because-
better word?
It's
No,
better
but
than
that-
saying old, though.
Aging women?
You
I mean,
know what?
everyone's aging.
I say it. I mean, it
Yeah.
may sound bad, and does it sound bad? I don't know that mature means that you've come into your own.
Yeah.
And maturity happens as women start to get in their 40s. I think, listen, I still don't see myself as a 66-year-old woman. I still see myself as a kid. I think we
I'm
never
the same.
feel. Do you
Yeah.
feel the same?
Yeah.
100%. Like I cannot figure it out how the number of how old I am equals how I feel. And I look at, just as a side note, I was watching The Golden Bachelorette last
Yeah.
night.
We're
A few
sponsoring.
minutes.
We're
Oh,
sponsoring.
no kidding.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm looking at her. She's the same age as I am. And I got to
Yeah.
meet her. But she
She's
seems
the same age as you?
correct. We're both 61. I cannot equate that I'm in that same thing, because I think I don't dress like she does. I dress like a kid. Well,
Yeah. Well, we also know she's dressing up for the Bachelorette.
I know, totally. But I just
And,
couldn't I watch her and I think wow, I just feel like a baby.
Lori, I know. How about when you say to somebody, and you mention your age, and they go, what? You're
Yeah.
61?
It happens
then
to
you
me
go,
constantly.
yeah, I'm 61. Like, in other
Right.
words,
Yeah.
they see it as an old number,
Yeah.
like you're old.
Totally.
And instead of them going, you look terrific for 61, 61, but they're shocked that you're that age.
I mean, I love the shock, but also there's something about the shock that I can't describe is not good. Like
I do
don't
Because
know
you
how
know
to
you're really
describe.
that age.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I don't remember who the guest is, and I won't name them anyway. But they walked off, and I said to Kelly, I'm like, I'm older than that person, and she's like, no, not possible. It just is like you just, I just,
Yeah.
I
It
feel that
happens
way.
every day of my life. I think somebody
Yeah.
must be my age or maybe even older, and then I find out they're younger, and I'm like, wait, what?
I
Like,
know.
yeah, something happened just yesterday where they were like, oh, there's somebody I want you to meet, business. I think they're older, but look them up. And I looked them up, and they were younger than me.
Wow.
And I thought, this person thinks that person's older.
But
and they were
isn't that good? Like
Yeah.
I think that's
It is good. It
kinda
is good. It is
that people-
good.
Like
Yeah.
I have a friend who always makes this joke about how she's like, I never understand why people lie about their age. She's like, if I'm going to lie about my age, I'm going to lie up, and then people will be like, oh wow, you look
good
fantastic
point.
for
Yeah.
75.
By the way, that's
You should start
brilliant.
saying you're 72.
Start saying you're 87. They'll be like, oh my god, you look amazing
Yeah.
for 87.
You know what? She's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very funny bit.
We're lucky that we're getting older.
100%. Aging is a privilege. I mean, I remember when I was I had a hard time turning 60, and I walked into a liquor store to buy like a bottle of wine, and
They carded you?
no, I wish that was the
I was
case.
going to say.
No,
like, if that's
but
where this story
this
is going.
guy was young. He was like 34, and I'd been going to the store longer than he'd been alive. That's how old the store is on Third Avenue. But he said, no, he's like, aging is a privilege. He's like, you should feel proud of it. And it was like, wow, like, from this like young 30-something-year-old guy, I was like, okay, like he's right. The alternative is not great. So let's keep living,
And what you're both doing, can I just say, because I'm not where you are with health and wellness, and I do need to take a page out of your book and join. What is it that you have, like an online thing? Or
Yeah, we have
Yes.
an online wellness group.
Yeah.
And
I know you told me about it.
you know
Yes.
though that I want to get my hands on you to train you.
I just think like you both, and maybe that's why especially you don't look your age. I'm not asking you, Jen, how old
I'll
you
tell you
are.
her age.
No, I
She's
won't admit it.
53.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't admit it. I'm 72.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Laura, I will say that I was one of those people
You
for
were,
a long
for a
time,
long time.
that I never would say my age. And part of it was like I had a lot of younger friends. Like I still have friends in their 30s, in their 40s. And like I always felt like I didn't want them to know how old I was. It's like, this isn't really a secret anymore, especially now that we're talking about menopause and midlife
Yeah,
all the time. I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah.
I would
Constant.
never. But don't you also think that it's become? First of all, I don't think 50 today looks like 50
does
did
not.
20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's very different. I look at my grandmother who was 74, and like I thought that was so old, and now I see women that are in that age range, and I would never think that's
Yeah,
old.
we were just talking to someone. I think it's Heather Hirsch, Dr. Heather Hirsch, who was saying there's some meme of the women from Sex and the City now, and the
Or is it
Golden
Glo-
Girls,
And the Golden
and the
Girls.
Golden Girls. Yes, and
Yes,
how
I've seen it.
they're the
seen it.
same ages, and
Same
look
ages.
at that. I mean, it's crazy, like how you look at those things now, and how people dressed, and
Our
how
perception
different it was.
of
Yeah.
what
of
that
what
was.
that
Yeah.
50, 50, 60, 70 look
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of the opportunity and the privilege of getting older because of the things that you offer, the other guests you bring on to talk about. Like there's so much we not only can do to feel better, to look better. And that's one of my missions in the cosmetic space. It really is. And we only changed that 3 years ago. In
Really?
2021 is when we shifted our focus. I always knew that my customer was over 40. I always knew it. But we always felt like it had to be aspirational. And aspirational was like these young, beautiful models that we used. And then people started saying, like, you don't have anybody like on air or in your ads that look like me. And I was like, well, look at me. I'm your age, or, and they were like, no, and then I started listening to that. And along with my marketing team, we were like, we need to do a better job at this. And when we shifted our focus to over 40, our whole brand changed. Our brand is it's like a rebirth of Laura Geller Beauty.
Yep.
Because we are featured every Friday. We feature real Geller gals on our site, and we put their pictures up. If they send in a picture, they get like a gift card from us, and we show their pictures. And it's so nice to see women being happy to share from 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. It's the best.
So I think that, what sets you apart is this idea of, catering to older women. And, I see the photos that you post and the real people. And it's like kind of nice to see that, the makeup isn't like in the creases of their face and everything looks smooth and polished. And I just think that you are by far one of the most successful brands at doing this. I don't even know any other brands that really do this. Are there? Okay.
There are. There are. And I don't think I was one of the first, no, I'd say I was one of the first, but not the only.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I think the fact that I have a platform and a voice, and because of social media, and I get to really talk about it on all different platforms, I think it's what also helps the brand and my following, because they can see not just on QVC, maybe they've never watched QVC, but then on Facebook or on Instagram or on TikTok, or on our YouTube TV channel, they're able to see me talking to them, and real women, like you said, Jen, who look like them and they can identify. And it's also the formulas that we're working on. I have a great team, and they'll pass me something in a meeting that they've all tried and love. And I'll go, you're 30, you're 40, you're not 60. And so let me have that. Let me put it on here. Like, perfect examples, they were working on an SPF gloss. It's a hole in our line. We need it. So I put it on. And I said, let's just live with it. Let's continue on. And then I knew what I was worried about was it going to feather into my lines? Was it going to feather out here? And within no time, I looked in the mirror and I just went like this to them.
Right.
And they were like, okay.
Wow.
It's those little things that I know women have a problem with.
Sure.
And if I do, they do. And when you're 30, you don't have a problem. Or when you're in your 20s, you don't have a problem with that. So I was like, no, let's put this out to pasture. Let's start over again. And I'm that careful about everything we bring out.
Yeah, which is why it works, and women are buying these products. I mean, and your price point. I mean, your price point is really, really attainable and affordable for people. I think that's a big, that's a big thing, because I'll walk into Sephora and sometimes I'm like, I have like sticker shock. I'm like,
you cannot believe it. You're buying like a blush and
Yes.
you walk out and it's $200.
I'm
and
like,
you're like,
how did
wait,
I
what?
just spend all of this money when I came in here for mascara?
Yeah, I would say to everybody listening, don't do that. There's no need to do that. You're not getting something better in that compact, trust me.
Yeah.
There is no ingredient in that compact, I promise you, whether it's skincare or makeup, that is going to change the molecule of your face, your skin. You want a product line that has a good reputation and a good heritage, granted. But just remember, what you're paying for is typically their marketing and where they're advertising and being able to stay in brick and mortar. We're not in brick and mortar. And it's because it's not for a lack of them not wanting us. We were in all the Sephora stores. We were in all the Ulta stores. But in order to be in those stores, they are your partner. And if they're your partner, it's not just what you're giving over percentage-wise. You also have to fund the fixture units, the change outs. There's so much that goes into it. And so they need to charge more money for their products to maintain being able to be and live in those spaces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never knew.
But
I never
you
I
can
didn't
bring
know
your
that either.
costs down.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can bring your costs down when you don't have that overhead.
Wow. Wow.
And I feel like it's so smart, first of all, because you still could charge those prices and
people
you
would
don't.
pay them,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like people would pay for it, I think. But like there's such a balance there. And I think that's just good business. And it makes you trustworthy and you feel like I'm really getting a product that I know has been tested and vetted and it works for me, the woman over 40, and then I could afford it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. The whole experience of buying makeup, whether you're a makeup fanatic, a makeup junkie, or you just put a little lip gloss. I don't know a woman anywhere because most of my friends are not major makeup people. They're like, they'll put a little mascara, a little blush. They don't even wear foundation. But yet, there's not a woman I've ever met that's not fascinated and
Oh,
interested.
absolutely.
It's so true.
Absolutely.
Because even me, I'm like the least makeup-y person that I know, besides my sister who wears nothing, by the way.
Yeah, no, you're not alone.
Yeah. And that even I'm like, you see someone who's looks good in makeup and you're like, oh, you kind of wish you could do that, because you see
Should I
how,
be doing
Should
that?
I-
right,
right.
you want to be
Yeah, no,
in there. You know?
listen, it's nice when you have an event to go to,
Mm-hmm.
or and then you take that extra little bit of time to maybe just put a little more lipstick or a little more blush or a little more liner, and you feel a little more dressed up. I love that people have the flexibility of doing that.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm from a place where one of the things I think that sets me apart is I can read a woman in 2 seconds and know what kind of makeup she's going to like. Like Lori, if you would have ever come to my store and said, I'm here for a makeup lesson, I probably would have done it. And you would have walked out looking maybe exactly like you look with just a little more polish. Because I
Wow.
would have known
Yeah.
you're not going to go home and do a whole thing.
No.
And
No.
so I think that's why people came to us, is you needed to read women too.
Yeah.
And I would teach my artists that. I'd be like, you're not just here to paint their face, because what you need to do is develop a routine for them, for their lifestyle and what their lifestyle is and what they're willing to do.
Totally.
And
That's such a good point.
It is such a good point.
it's true.
And I can't imagine you adding something to your morning routine. That would take, I mean,
No,
Laura.
it's bad enough I have to have a nighttime routine now because I have all this.
morning
I have
routine.
like all these things going on with my skin,
Oh,
and
yes,
so
your
I've been
skin
given a
issues.
routine.
Oh.
And last night I was falling asleep, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta do my face."
Oh, I hate when that happens.
I was like, I
even
just
hate
want to go
that.
to bed, but I know I need to
know.
do it. Like it's been ingrained in me, and it's like it's working. So I like, oh, and it must be working because I got a compliment the other day at work saying like, "What are you doing with your skin? That's different." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it is."
Yeah,
Bring
putting
it's
it
so
on.
funny, Laura. We get, different events that we go to. We're always getting like a gift bag or a box sent to us or this. And I am all about it. I will try anything. I'm like, oh, let's do this. I come here. I'm like, you haven't even opened the box.
I'm like, I don't know
What's
what
wrong
this
with
stuff
you?
is. I don't use this stuff. What is this for? I have no idea.
I love it all.
I have no
love
idea.
It all.
No, but it's confusing. The
It
marketplace
is.
Yeah,
is
it's very
really flooded.
glutted.
And
Yeah.
I even say to my team, like, don't assume people are going to, look at this and go, oh, that must be foundation. I mean, you need to really explain it, and not just on the box, but on the item, because people throw out the box. Like, I know even when I go to events and I get a gift bag, if I get a skincare item and it doesn't just say cleanser or moisturizer, and they come up with these fancy French names for things, and in other languages, I'm like, wait, I don't even know. Is this a moisturizer?
Right.
Is it like a serum? Like, I won't use it if I don't understand what it is.
Exactly.
I get it. You're not in the majority. You're in the majority,
Yeah.
not the minority.
No, I'll try anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is supposed to.
Oh, it says I'll be my neck. All
Yeah,
right,
like,
here we
oh,
go.
I'll try it. Oh.
How does this look?
Yeah, I'll try anything. I'll try anything. Like I have a line right here that I'm looking at in this
Wait,
video.
do you do devices? You both? Do you use devices?
Yes.
Well,
for
it's
everything?
interesting that you should say that.
Yeah.
So you do use devices.
I did for a while, and actually that did help. The red light therapy does help.
I've
I'm
heard
all
that's
in on
great.
that. I'm all in on
Yes.
red light therapy.
I
and the
haven't
blue
tried
light,
that
truthfully.
yet.
Blue light's good for acne, right? And the red light is good
Yeah,
for
I
like
think
toning and
Yeah,
lifting.
and like yeah.
If anybody ever saw all the things I do with devices, you could not get out of the house if you really were somebody that like followed all the
Right.
things you're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing.
It's
You just be
ridiculous.
home
Yeah.
all day long.
Yeah.
Wait, so what devices do you use? Can you share
Yeah.
with us?
Yes, I use, oh, yes. Okay. I use a laser machine that sits on my vanity and I zap here because I get, who doesn't get hairs
Yeah.
here? And yeah, and I use this laser and it gets rid of my hair for permanent.
Oh.
And
Okay.
yeah.
Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
I
And then
sometimes have
it
a
is-
full beard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I use, before I do it to get rid of my beard, I use Dermaflash.
Okay. Oh,
so
yes.
I love a
is
Dermaflash.
it's a
I know.
razor,
Yes, I know what that is. Yeah.
and it gets rid of all the
Yeah, we've
superfluous
sold that on
hairs.
the show. I should have just bought.
I
one.
love that. I have
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Dermaflash.
Yeah.
I know the owner
Yeah.
of Dermaflash. And so I live and breathe by that. So then after I get rid of the hair, then I come in with the laser machine and I make sure that I'm killing the follicles. Then when I'm in the mood, I have a vacuum machine that you go like this and it vacuums out all the pores and sucks out all the milia. Well, not milia has to be removed by a dermatologist, but all the blackheads and all the loose stuff in
Yeah.
your skin.
Wow.
So I do that. Then from Joanna Vargas, one of the best skincare spas and facialists and estheticians in the city, I got from her a machine that is like a red light that you hold. So I put a mask on and then I put the machine over it. It's a heated machine and it presses the mask into my skin. Wait, then I have New Face, which is like spandex for your face, and it pushes up all your things. So I have New Face. How many did I say already? I think
I think five.
Five.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
5. But the only one that I do all the time is Dermaflash.
Yeah. I feel like I have to
And
get
I
one
will
of those.
tell you, it's I don't know, because it gets rid of not just superfluous hair, but dead skin
Yeah.
that we can't get rid of through cleanser.
Right.
I get complimented on my skin all the time, and I don't have good skin. So I know it's the Dermaflash. It helps receive the
Yes,
products
right,
you're going to put on
yeah,
it much better.
right.
Because you don't have this layer of dead skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I feel like I overdid it at one point with that, though. I was so obsessed with it. I was watching like
did
the
too.
flakes of skin come off.
Me too.
Well, someone loves
Oh.
anything that is. I don't even know how to describe what you love.
I know what you're
You know
talking
what I mean? Like there's this satisfaction of seeing it like come off of your face, like seeing the skin
Yeah,
or the.
yeah.
I have that with
don't
a few things. Yeah.
I'm so with you on that. Jen,
I mean,
I'm right there with you.
She's like, "Oh, you have a cut on your finger? Can we put hydrogen peroxide on it so I could watch it bubble up?"
Yeah, I like to.
oh, see, that I'm not in. That I don't care about. Oh, Jen. Wow.
Yeah, it's a weird
Very
thing. It's
crazy.
A weird. We had a psychiatrist on to talk to me
We
about that.
did. We talked a lot about all her weird
I
things.
have a lot of weird obsessions, I guess you would say. Maybe not
I think
obsessions.
so.
Like,
I think so. I
yeah.
think so.
But we don't have to talk about that right now.
If it's not detrimental.
It's not hurting anyone. It's not hurting anyone.
It's not hurting anybody. You're still getting out of the house in the morning.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
okay.
I'm not sitting at home.
On the surface, she looks perfectly normal, doesn't she? She's a pretty girl.
by the way,
No one knows.
who doesn't have stuff?
Everyone.
I haven't met a.
Everyone
all,
has it.
I mean,
Everyone has it. Everyone
and
has
that's the
it.
beauty of our community.
Yes.
We all have our little thing. Me, I talk about it. I do talk about it.
yeah.
I mean, I've shared
That's the
it.
beauty of
I've
getting
shared
older,
it on
too.
this.
You
Oh,
don't care.
Absolutely,
You'll
you don't
say
care.
anything. You'll say anything.
A lot of my stuff
Yeah.
has been
Yeah.
revealed on this
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
And so people may think that I'm a little crazy, but you know,
Or they
Or
may
they may
identify
identify.
and feel less.
Maybe you're like opening up a whole like, oh,
maybe.
she's just like me.
yeah, I
It makes
doubt
it feel better. I doubt
I
it.
doubt it. Because some of them are like really weird.
Yeah.
Even the
Oh,
psychiatrist
yeah.
we had on, she
was like, wow, I never heard that before.
it was like I stumped her. She was like, oh,
She had
that's
no-
interesting.
no recourse
She had
for
nothing
what
to
you were
say.
doing.
She's like, I don't know how to
She
help
had
you.
nothing to say after you
Don't
said
know how
it.
to help you.
Oh
Yeah,
my
there
God.
was-
If that isn't a way for people to want to listen to every podcast to figure out which one that is, especially stumping a psychiatrist.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
now
We're
I
going to
want
send
to
it to
know.
you. We're
But
going to send you that episode.
Oh my god.
Oh my
oh
gosh.
no, I won't let you ask. I'm going to ask you for that.
Oh my God. So, all right, talk about, I know we were talking to you
Oh
for
my
so long, but
God.
I just want to ask you one more thing.
Sure.
How do you personally define beauty, and how has that perspective changed over time?
I'll tell you, because I can't subscribe to every perfect way of living health wise. And for me, beauty, I was inspired also to go into beauty because my mother was a very simple woman, and she didn't look like the women that the neighborhood I grew up in. They were very fashion forward. They wore makeup. Their hair was always done. My mother put a little pressed powder and a little lipstick, and I saw how transformative it was with the neighbors, on the block, my friends' mothers. And I thought, if they could look the way they look, then I'm going to go into this business. I want to learn about this because I saw how transformative it was with them, and my mother didn't have that. So that's what made me go in the business. But then for me, it's if I look good, if I can put my makeup on and make sure my skin is in good condition, and I'm just talking about here, let's face it. I mean, that's what my business is, right? So if I feel good here, I feel good in here.
Yeah.
And I can approach the world. So sometimes I know they say if you feel good on the inside, you feel good on the outside, which is absolutely true. But for me in beauty, it's if I look good here,
Right.
it's what gets me to walk out and feel more confident and walk into a room of people that I may not know and not be like a little bit like, oh my God, do I look okay? Because I know I put myself together,
Right.
So
That's how I feel
that's
about
how I
clothes.
define
That's
it.
how I feel
That
about
is how you
clothes,
feel
Laura.
about
I
clothes,
feel
yeah.
like I'm always, if I don't like what I'm wearing, I'm in the worst mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right?
get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
But maybe I should worry more about what my face looks like.
No, I think
No,
it's
I
whatever
think it-
works
sure.
for each
Yeah,
of you.
yeah.
Yeah. You
This
have
is
to
my
feel
personal
right.
thing.
confident.
I think
know.
whatever makes you feel confident and good about
I'm
yourself.
not even sure what that is for me. I mean, I think, clothing is part of it for me. And also,
I think your hair is a big thing for you.
my hair is definitely a big thing
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're very.
Yeah, I'm a Leo. The power's in the mane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have good.
Yeah,
You have good
no,
hair.
yeah.
you-
And I have good hair. Yeah.
It's funny
You're
you
right
said
about
that
that.
because I'm a Leo.
Yes,
We're Leo
yes, yes,
sisters.
yes.
And when my hairdresser does my hair, and it could
Yeah.
last for like for a photo shoot when he does it, and I need to have hair for a photo shoot, for 3 or 4 days after, I can get away with it still
Me
looking
too.
good. And I have to tell you, I feel completely different when my hair looks good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It
So
is-
I'm right there with you,
Yeah,
Laura.
it is so true because my hair's so thick, I don't really I wash it once a week, really.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
gauge like what's the day that I'm going to wash it so that I know it's going to look its best in 2 days.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know I have an event in 3 days, so I'm going to have it be a little dirtier. You're right. It's all about the hair.
Yeah, it's all
You're
about the-
absolutely
yeah.
right. I'm just going to wrap up with this
Yep.
one thing. So it's October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You're a breast cancer survivor.
5 years out.
Amazing.
Mazel tov.
Yep.
And so you have a special initiative at Laura Geller Beauty, I think, in honor of that.
Yeah, so we always do something a little different. And we have been working with Fran Drescher's charity for the last 4 years and partnering with her for her charity, Cancer Schmancer. So for the month of October, she designed a kit from us, and I want to make sure I get it right. It's 50% off. All the proceeds go to her charity, Cancer Schmancer, which you should look up because their initiative is incredible. It's one of our hero kits. It's our baked products from Italy, and it contains a split eyeshadow, a pink dual-ended brush for putting blush and eyeshadow on, and it has blush in it and eyeliner in it. It's a nice little compact. So I hope everybody will check it out because 50% off goes to a good
That
place.
sounds
That's awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah, well-
and I'm happy that you're healthy and
Exactly. Yeah.
and good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I was one of the fortunate ones, and I always say I found it early, and when I had to tell people that I had it, I said, I have a little cancer. Like, not a lot. I was stage 1. I was like, just a little bit. And so I I always feel guilty. It's like survivor's guilt because I know so many friends who we all know
Yeah,
so many
definitely.
people who went through hell
Yeah.
and lost their lives. And so thank God for the modern technology. That would be what I'd like to end off with is please, maybe you're scared to hear, but early detection is the answer for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, get screened.
1,000%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
being here with us.
We love you, Laura Geller.
We really
Oh my
love
God,
you.
I love your podcast. You forget that like you're talking to the world. I
Well,
mean,
we
forget it too.
We hope the world. We're not sure if the whole world is quite listening yet,
But the little bit that we have, we're happy
a
about.
little corner of the world is listening.
I don't know. I love the name Everybody Talks, but I also like hanging with Jen and Laura. I mean, I got to tell you, hanging with you is like just having another night out. So,
Well, we have to have a real night out
We'll
soon.
have a real night out soon. Thank you so
All
much.
right,
Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. How much do we love Laura Geller?
So much.
We love her.
Yeah. I'm so glad that we met her. Like, I feel so lucky that we
Yes.
not only met her, but like hit it off with her. And she's
Yeah.
our friend now. And I just, I love that I'm back in New York so I could see
I
her
know.
more.
Oh, it's fantastic.
She's great. I mean, and what an amazing success story, right?
Yeah, really started from nothing, didn't know what she was doing, was kind of a success in spite of herself.
Right?
Right? Kind of had some bad luck, but then has had
turned it
massively
around.
good luck,
She turned it
and
around.
not luck, really. I mean, it's really
No, hard work. A lot of hard work. Like she said, it's like she just kept persevering
Yeah.
through all of those, shitty things that happened
Totally,
to her.
and she really, really, really knows what she's talking about.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like for her to like get her hands on my face.
I know.
Do something.
I know. She'll teach me how to wear makeup.
Yeah, me too.
So we hope you enjoyed that. That was just like a great chat with your girlfriend. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm Lori Schulweiss.
And I'm Jen Giamo.
And this was Everybody Talks.
Talk to you next time.
Take care.
For more information about our podcast, to learn more about us, and to catch up on all of our episodes, go to our website at everybodytalkspodcast.com.
Follow us on Instagram at Shuli, at Jen Giamo, and at Everybody Talks. And if you want to watch today's episode, go to our YouTube channel at Everybody Talks Podcast.
Join the Everybody Talks community by checking out our Patreon page, where you can become an exclusive member of our wellness group and be a part of the conversation.
And don't forget, if you like what you've heard, give us a 5-star rating, write a review, and tell a friend. We're for everybody and everybody. The Everybody Talks podcast is co-created, executive produced, and hosted by us, Lori Schulweiss and Jen Giamo. Today's episode is edited by Josh Sperry.
Our theme song music is written and performed by Jackie Ryle and Aaron Navisi, with additional support from our pups, Oliver, Milo, and Murray.
Talk to you next time.